I know what you're thinking. Why don't I talk to her? I did countless times. Every time is the same pattern. She gives me an excuse on why she can't talk. Promises to do better, then is back to breadcrumbing me the next day. Take note of that word breadcrumbing, because when we're talking about signs, you perhaps might consider it one of those signals. It's up to you to decide whether it's a red flag or a yellow flag. But in addition to the communication issues, I feel she doesn't add any value to my life. She's just there. Deep down, I think she doesn't want to be married to me. Maybe we're not as compatible as we thought. But I didn't think it would be like this. I thought I found my companion in life, but I guess I was mistaken. How can spending time with your husband be a chore? I blame no one but myself, because I saw these flags from the start, but chose to ignore them, hoping it would get better after marriage. I was too dumb to realize that people don't suddenly change just because their relationship status changed. I'm just so tired of it. These days, all I think about is ending it. Sorry to be a downer, but I just wanted to get this off of my chest and warn people, please don't ignore the red flags. That's the story. I have a few other examples of people looking back and saying, I saw these things, but I ignored it. I saw these things, I ignored it. And so that's why we're having the conversation today. Again, this is the men's edition, so forget the story that I read. I just wanted to give you an example. This is a man who is having an issue with his wife, which is what we're going to be tackling during the women's edition. But we're talking about the men here now. So I just wanted to give that story as context, because the key thing in today's conversation is how to know what not to ignore. And this is where I hand over to Coach Mayzy to take over. Welcome once again, boss.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. And, I wish that story was like the other way around about the guys, so that we could have just fit it.
Switch it around, because really, when it comes down to it, is it a gender thing? Really, are there signs that are specific to men and women? Are there?
Okay, so like we always establish, for those who have listened to us time and time again, that when it has to do with behavior, it is a human thing. All right. So it can be both or either male or female. All right. However, when we're talking about red flags, certain things may be more common with men, while certain other things may be more common with women, for their obvious genders, right? For the obvious difference in their genders. For example, if you're talking seduction, it's not quite a thing to say that a man is acting seductively. It may more appropriately describe what a lady is doing, right? It doesn't mean that men can't be seductive in their own ways, right? But I'm just saying how that certain things may more naturally tilt towards a particular gender than the other. But when it has to do with human behavior, positive or negative or healthy or unhealthy behavior, it is a human thing. It's neither a male nor female thing. So many of the things we would say would apply both ways, but the proportions may just differ, in how it is applied to the male or the female. All right. So let's just still pick that story and assume that is the man who is the lady who is complaining about her guy. All right. So another thing with stories like that is, there are a lot of questions, a lot more context that we're going to need that we're not able to have because they're not here to answer the questions, right? So it gets a bit difficult speaking to specific situations like that. Howbeit, one of the things you want to find out is what were the things you noticed while you guys were still in courtship? All right. Did you try to have some of these conversations? Did you see these signs, or did you overlook them? Did you just wave them away? All right. And this is one thing that we see happening in relationships a lot. There's this concept of I'm looking for the other word for it, but the word that comes to mind right now is idealizing your partner. You see the areas where they're wrong, but because you like certain aspects of them, you assume the wrong behavior away, or you just assume the right behavior into them. So let me give an example. Let me just give a typical example. a young lady sees a guy who is her idea of her spec, his build, his gait, his, height, his beard, his reach. And she's like, this man is the real spec that I have been praying for. In fact, God has answered. But then you also discover that maybe he consumes alcohol a lot. And that is something that is a no-no for you for very strong reasons known to you. But you have seen that part of him. But because you want to force him to fit the fantasy in your mind, you tell yourself it's not that deep. He only drinks like that when he's with his friends. But he controls himself. He doesn't get drunk. Even though you have seen him tipsy and making stupid decisions because he was high or drunk, right? But you idealize him to say, no, he's not in that particular situation. Maybe he was just too tired and wanted to really just unwind, but on a normal day, he won't get that high. But when he's with me, I will know how to moderate him. I know how to make you just tell yourself all those nice and fantastic things. That is you idealizing your partner. You are ignoring the fact that this thing needs attention. You can see it. You don't like it. It is not good. It is going somewhere that is not good for both of you. But you tell yourself, I can handle it now. Why? Because deep down, what you're really doing is you're trying to force him to fit the narrative in your head. Because you have already accepted the other parts of him to say, this is the one I want. I'm not leaving him for anything. Everybody has their own demons. Let me accept this one. But then, instead of addressing it, fair and square, like straight on in a conversation, you tell yourself, let's just get married first. Later, we will deal with this. But unfortunately, you get married and then things even get worse because maybe now he loses his job and then he goes back to that drinking problem very terribly as the only place where he finds succor. And then he comes home drunk and he starts hitting you, he starts assaulting you and the children. And then you're saying, oh my God, But then you would remember that it was always there, right? So that is one reason people don't take red flags seriously, because in their minds, they just want to force the person to fit the narration they have created for themselves about their man or their in this case, since it's men. So they see the signs, but just tell themselves, I can deal with it. Don't worry. It's not that deep. And then eventually it becomes really deep.
I think it's interesting because the article that I'm reading here, I said a lot of them have their different numbers of red flags. I chose to work with this one for today. The top red flag that it says that you should be aware of, especially since this is the men's edition, we're saying, so you as a woman, one of the signs you should be aware of with your partner is alcoholism and drug addiction. So there's the kind of drinking that it's not a problem. But then there's the one that is daily and until it inebriates you or gets you drunk. Like I said, it could be a red flag, right? Because what it is this person is relying on this as a crutch to deal with some of the real issues that they're not braving up to deal with in their lives. So for some people, it's alcoholism. For some people, it's drug addiction. And so when you see, as a woman, since we're talking about the men's edition, if your partner is having alcohol or drugs impact them in a negative way, whether it is in their work, whether it is in their health, or whether it is in their relationships, one, it's a sign of addiction. And similarly, if they rely on these things to get through the day or the week, or in some cases, even just a tough situation, this is indicative of addiction, and it signifies that they have not figured out how to cope without altering their mental state. So I wanted to bring that conversation around probably a partner who drinks until they get drunk or uses substances until they're out of their senses, to understand why it will be a red flag. Do you understand what I mean?
Excellent.
So Coach is not saying if you have somebody that drinks, it's a red flag. He's saying when it is happening, or if they are using these things as a crutch or as a way to sort of do away with the problems that they're having in life, or the only way they can address those problems is by altering their mental state, then that is a red flag. And ultimately, you need to understand this. When we're talking red flags, we're talking about signals, signs that you see that will make you sit down and reason backing away from a relationship. Of course, we're going to talk about the yellows and the greens. Yellow flags are less severe. They caution us to slow down. You know, of course, you know the green will take. Like I said, just think about the traffic light. The green will tell you, Ngwa, move ahead. But when we're talking red flags, which is the biggest conversation, or perhaps of this age, one of the biggest conversations of this, when it comes to, we need to understand why alcoholism, for example, or substance use would be a red flag. Yeah. All right, Coach, back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that, that light. You see, because why is it a concern? Because if you go ahead with that relationship, with that issue unattended or unchecked, one thing is sure, it is going to hurt you. Take it. It's not, we're not saying maybe. That's why it's a red flag, right? If it's a yellow flag, you say, okay, maybe, yeah. But when it's a red flag, we're saying that this is a thing that has the capacity to hurt you and hurt that relationship. All right. And by hurt that relationship, I mean that if things are not well with the both of you in that relationship, then the relationship is hurt. Do you understand? So using the examples of alcoholism or substance use, if this person on a normal day is bright, is smart, you love him, he seems to have it together, but you notice that for every challenging situation, he has to take something, whether it's a substance or a drink, maybe so he can lose inhibitions to do what he wants to do, then that is a concern. That is a concern. It means that this person has not yet learned to regulate themselves, and they're adults now. They've not yet learned to moderate their desires, to delay gratification, to brace up to challenges without the use of a supporting substance. In fact, as we're saying this, I just remembered there was a time during my NYSC, and then we were going to act this drama on one of those days, and it was just a fun thing. Like, it wasn't quite a big deal, but there was this guy who was so tensed about his role. And his role was going to be what you would typically call a waka pass role. Like, you're not the main character, you're just going to show up at one point in the drama. He was so tensed, but yet he kept assuring us, don't worry, I'll do it. I know myself, I'll do it. Okay. And then when it was just the scene before his own where he was going to come up stage, we didn't know this guy had already bought some things. I won't call the particular so that I'm not giving people ideas. But he had bought some substances and then put them together and mix it and shook, and then drank it, And then it was like his eyes opened. Wow. And then this guy was like a lion.
Adrenaline
just to
rush.
go and act drama on stage.
Waka pass.
Ordinary drama. Waka pass role. You're not the main actor. You're not boss. You're not... it does not revolve around you. Your part can be done away with. But to just do that tiny appearance, he needed to lose inhibitions, and he could only rely on substance.
So you can imagine somebody like that then having to deal with the more serious issues of life, the extent that they will go.
Just imagine.
Which is why it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Which is why it's a red flag. Okay.
So it's a red flag because such a person will not be able to navigate important and difficult situations unless they take something. So you need to take...
Okay. You need to take a closer look. Let me see if I can finish up Coach's thoughts on that. You need to take a closer look, and you need to sit down and evaluate. And that's why we're having these conversations. You need to sit down and evaluate. What's the worst case scenario with somebody like this? If you ended up with someone like this is the ladies for you to ask yourself now. What's the worst possible scenario? Say this is something that your significant other is having to deal with. Okay, so me and Coach, don't just come and tell me it's a red flag. I'm woman enough. I can handle it. All he needs is help. He's just wounded. He's dealing with trauma. He's dealing with this. He's dealing with that. Yes, absolutely yes. It's okay for you to think about your partner in that light. Perhaps you're not the kind of person to leave somebody when they're at their lowest. Totally understandable. The whole point of this conversation is saying, if you choose to go ahead, I like to come back to the traffic light, yeah? If you choose to go ahead with a partner who is exhibiting these signs, you see the signals is there, is in your face, you can't ignore it. If you choose to go ahead with these signs, for example, what happens when you go past a red light on the highway, on a freeway? What are the possible things that can happen to you when you go past the light, when you beat the light? You can think about it in the Nigerian context here with the VIOs and for road safeties and all of that. You can also think about it in the westernized concept where you're hearing, okay, tickets, you're booked, your license is suspended. There are always consequences no matter the decision you decide to take. That's why we're having this conversation. So say you're that person who is thinking, I beg. What do you know about me and my man? We have such a relationship. We go through the toughest of times together. It's okay. You just want to think about what happens when you beat that light. When it gets to the point where this thing that has presented itself as a signal for you to say, perhaps you should stop here and take a look and decide whether you want to go through it. And if you decide you want to go through it, you're ready to deal with all the consequences that come from it. So that you don't go and sit down years after, weeks after, months after, and go, had I known. Okay? So I was trying to finish up your thought, Coach Mayzy. Let's touch on perhaps, I don't know if you think we've looked at, we're looking at some of the things that people can use to know, right? That, okay, these are flags.
We should spell out a number of those qualities that are harmful to relationships.
Okay. Let's look at one that some would say just naturally flows from the first one we've talked about, which is violent displays. Someone who demonstrates violence. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be towards you. It's towards your loved ones. Yeah. It's towards strangers. Yeah. It's towards their parents, their siblings. It's towards, in some cases, even animals. They see one small bingo by the side of it, kick it. They like to hear the sound of the bingo crying. Okay, more seriously, they're violent towards even the ones that nurtured them and brought them into the world. Even if they're not violent towards you. Isn't that a flag? Isn't that a red flag?
Generally, when you see any sign of violence in a person, it is a red flag. Because if it's not towards you today, it's just a matter of time you're going to be on the receiving end of it. And it's part of the reasons we tell ladies to check, how he relates with other people generally. Not just how he relates with you. You say, oh, he pampers me. Oh, he's my odogu. No problem. How does he relate with other people? Is he kind to you and very nasty with other people? How does he talk to people who are not in his economic level? So maybe his servers, his security personnel, the porter by the mall or by the restaurant. How does he relate to all these people? What are the kind of things he says when he's offended? Is he the kind who would always threaten to beat up somebody or break their head or say all those kind of things? You want to check for all of these things. Not just that he pampers me, but how does he relate with every other person? How does he talk with his sisters, with his mother, right? With other elderly people around him? How does he speak? If you see the signs of violence, then it means that it is something that is there, and it's a matter of time you will be the object of it. All right? Some people say, no, I'm his kryptonite, I'm his weak point. No, he
cannot.
He
sees me, he's so weak. He can't talk, he can't shout.
Just wait, it's a matter of time. And let me tell you why you're not that special.
Oh, ouch. Did you have to say it like that? Coach, I felt like, you're too direct. I know. It just felt like.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was quite hard, right? But sometimes we need to shake some people back to reality.
Okay.
So things like that, we just give them that. The way it came.
So tell us why we are not that special.
it's the person that is saying that he can hit every other person, but he will never hit me. Why the person is not that special is because what you're seeing in that person has become a habit. It has become their natural response when provoked. It has become a behavior that has been learned and internalized over time. This is how they respond when provoked. All right? Just like people who would typically always raise their voice once it looks like they're angry at you. They must raise their voice, they must call names. That is the response they know, and they will do it. They are predictable like that. You can bet money on that behavior and you would win, right? So the thing is, the fact that it's other people who are getting them to that point, right, does not mean that one day in marriage, because the truth is, it is very erroneous, very unrealistic to imagine that in your marriage, you and your partner won't have a row at each other, won't have misunderstanding. It's very unrealistic, right? Things would happen that, you can innocently annoy your partner. Do you get that? You could say something out of the niceness and innocence of your heart, and it comes off as offensive to the person, unknown to you, right? So there could be those moments where you do things that this person would consider a trigger. And at that point, because they have not learned any other healthy way to communicate their discomfort or a violation of their values, right? What would happen is that the natural default response is what you would see. They will beg you later, Sha.
And
they will beg you with a lot of gifts.
Of course.
And they will beg you, they'll buy you gifts, they'll pamper you. They even say the makeup sex will be very great. No problem. But that beating, you will collect. You will collect. So that's why I said you're not that special, because it's a matter of time. This is the only response they know, and that is what they will naturally do. All right?
Okay.
So
we're talking red flags. We're talking red flags just in case you're just joining the conversation. Coach, you were saying sometimes they'll start to do what?
They'll start begging and crying. Oh, I can't believe I did this to you. I can't believe I left my hands on you. I'll never do that to you. I swear on my mother, I will never hit her. Story. It shall happen again. It shall happen.
Which brings me to the next signal that this man is a red flag in the event that this is your experience, or you happen to end up in a relationship with somebody as a woman, and then you start to experience this. Just again, it's these things, somehow there's a natural progression because a lot of the time with these things, you will see multiple signs in one. Somebody who is given to substance use and alcohol abuse or an addiction, in a lot of cases will resort to violence, and then right after they do this one amazing thing, and it's amazing in the worst possible ways. It's called gaslighting. Gaslighting is when a person says or does things to make you question your own sanity. Have you been in a relationship with somebody where they will misbehave, and in the process of you expressing your feelings and how this person's misbehavior hurts you, they will beat you up, and then they will tell you that you are the problem. They will tell you that you are the reason why they're acting like that. You are the reason why they're losing control. Ladies, I break it to you, that is called gaslighting. And in terms of somebody who does this, while they're making you question your own sanity, a lot of the times they will lie. They will tell you that you are forgetful, that the things that they know that you did, that you know that you did not do, that you did them. They will distort history. They will accuse you of overreacting. They will employ other manipulative tactics to make you seem and feel like Abishe, I know waiting they happen me. Are they crazy? The goal of this type of emotional abuse is control. And when you have somebody who is doing this, it is there's red flag and there's red bed sheets. This one has left flag. It's not a little piece of cloth anymore. It's like this big, this massive bed sheet that they use for the biggest size of bed times 3. Gaslighting. Gaslighting. Abi, coach?
Yeah.
Am I mistaken?
It's
Perhaps it's a yellow flag or a purple one, and I'm just overreacting?
No. It's a red flag.
Because if you had said I was overreacting just now, I would say you are gaslighting me. I'm playing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some of those phrases you would hear and are typical gaslighting phrases. So you hear things like, is that how you are seeing it? Like it's you now. Like, no, that was not what happened.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel that way. Like, that's not so. Now you now ask yourself, okay, maybe it's true, Seth. Maybe I'm the one that just took it the wrong way. Maybe that's not what it was. But you know exactly what happened and how it shook you up and how it offended you. You see, they tell you things like, you're just making this up in your head. And I don't even know where you get these ideas from. I don't even understand all of these things you're saying. Or they clearly deny reality. They tell you it never happened. Me hit you. No. Is it not? The dwelling is still here. I mean, for my dream, they beat me. Now you're confused. You're questioning your sanity, right? Because they so confidently make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. An intelligent babe like you, now you're getting to question everything. Like, maybe that's not what really happened. Or maybe I'm the one who's just too sensitive. That's another thing they do where they minimize your feelings. They just make you look like, Is that why you're making a big deal of? Ordinary that I just did this. Is that why? So they minimize your feelings and make it look like what the crime they committed is not quite a big of a deal. You're just the one blowing things out of proportion. And make you feel guilty. Like you are the one who I would not have spoken to you like that if you did not do this. The only reason I hit you and I have never hit anybody in my life is because
you made me do it.
Said that word.
Yes.
Anytime you say that, I just lose it. Right? Meanwhile, come on. It has always been there. It was never you. It was always them. So I mean, gaslighting is a big deal because it goes with manipulation, it goes with control.
Yes.
And these are emotional and verbal abuses, which can also even lead to physical abuse.
All right, Coach. I mean, we're just getting started on this conversation. If all these triggers and signs of red flags are anything to go by, but let's even up it up. Let's take it up a notch a little bit. Someone is here. He has a question for you. He left walk that he's walking. He said, no. This one has touched my soul. Gwenga. Hi, Gwenga.
Hello, good evening. Okay. I hope everybody's enjoying the live stream because I was enjoying it from behind the screen.
Oh, good to hear. Thank you.
But this particular instance just struck a chord in me.
Okay.
And I like the fact that we are all seeing it from the angle that mostly when it comes to red flag, maybe not everybody, but most people are genuine in showing their true color. But I'm here to inform you and not to confuse you that there are some people who intentionally want to be dramatic. So I've witnessed personal instances where after the act, they'll come and tell you, Shebi, I just wanted to get your attention. Something happened. I'll just give you a brief story.
Okay.
I'm a sports person, right? And I was following the FIFA Ballon d'Or stuff. Or was it last year or so? And there was this girl. The previous day, she told me that she had a little cut in her hand because she was cooking in the kitchen. Then the following day, after watching that 8 p.m., 9 p.m., she was now like, you know that I cut my finger yesterday. You didn't call me throughout today to check up on me and know that my finger is fine. You didn't even know that my finger is swollen. I was like, first of all, did you even ask me about my day? Are you even interested? So sometimes you would think that we should take all actions as genuine, but more often than not, they just want to be dramatic for nothing. So it's just like the police department receiving a lot of hoax calls. And you don't know the one that is genuine. You don't know the one that is actually an emergency for you to answer or the one that just wants to test your patience. So that's my question. How do you determine a dramatic person from a genuine person? Because what I've been listening to since is we feel that all these actions are genuine. My brother, some people just want to be dramatic. How do you deal with that? Thank you.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. Coach.
Excellent. So, Did they tell you that they were trying to be dramatic, or is that your deduction? Is that your deduction?
Okay, he's gone back so that he can handle the stream. But how about we ask the question again for his benefit? I'm sure he will find a way to answer it. So,
so you know why I'm asking that?
Yeah.
Because if you are the one interpreting that this person is just being dramatic, you could be falling into the categorization of minimizing that person's feelings. Because what you are calling you're just being dramatic might be their own way of seeking validation and attention. And they really meant it, even though it looks dramatic to you. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
No,
so for
wait.
you, it looks like, I bet this one is just unnecessary.
Wait, coach, wait now. The man just spoke from his heart. He says, let me try and replay this. Let me reenact the scenario so that we understand it very well. You haven't seen this person since yesterday. You know, and I will say this because, of course, I'm in a relationship, so I understand that men have their, I don't know if the word is proclivities. Men have the things that are important to them that we as women may not see as important, right? So he's had a long day, you know. He probably watched the match and his favorite team lost. And even though he knows that something happened to his babe the day before, her tone should not just be confrontational off the jump. Am I reading it correctly?
Yes, you are. Yes,
so
you are.
Her tone should not just be confrontational off the jump. Yes, she wants to be like craving for the attention and craving for the, oh, you didn't pet me, you didn't pamper me. But perhaps if she had come with, oh, how was your day first? You know, sweeten the pot, you know, massage his ego, rub his dada, like his literal dada first, before then saying, but you know, I don't like what you did. So if you say that what he's doing by saying she's dramatic is minimizing her feelings, is it possible that she also did that before he then reacted in that manner? And all these ones that we are saying, I'm even trying to find where we're going to put it on that. This is not gaslighting now. This is just somebody being dramatic,
don't worry,
as Benga said. So I wanted you to understand it from that perspective so that you know how to answer it. Because if you just say minimizing, me, as a woman who knows how men can be about the things that are important to them, I would say she minimized his feelings as well by not even...
For example, you call her or you call the person half time in the game. Then after 15 minutes, the second half is about to start. I'll be like, babe, I'm going to watch. So the match is more important than me, Abi. You don't start feeling like you are inconsiderate or insensitive. But truly,
coach, over to you.
Like, I don't know if you get. Anyway, I'm
coach,
out.
Over to you.
I understand you. So listen and follow me closely. Follow me closely, right? I am not yet justifying what she's doing as the best line of action. Follow me closely. Now, the point is, if she felt like she was neglected, it is valid. If you are the one who says that my girlfriend telling me that I neglected her is being dramatic, I'm telling you that you are not yet, listen, just follow me. Now, yes, she too could have been more sensitive. Do you understand? She should be more sensitive. But the question now is, you cannot determine or control what she will do, how she will behave towards you. What you can determine and what you can control is your own response, as it were, towards your partner. So if your partner comes at you with a wrong, does that validate that you respond to them equally with a wrong? Two wrongs don't make it right, like they say. Do you understand? But I'm telling you that if for whatever reason she feels like this guy did not even check on me, yes, she may be selfish, she may be, insensitive, not considerate, and just all thinking about herself and all of that. That is her own trauma wound for us to deal with. Do you understand? That is her own. There's a problem there that we will deal with. But the question now is, now that she has responded like this to you, how should you respond to her? If she says you did not check on me all day, and then your immediate response is, you too, did you check on me? Don't you know I have been busy? What did you just do? Did you validate her feelings or did you minimize it? Did you make it feel like it's not as important as my own too? Do you understand what I'm saying? So follow me closely. I'm not saying her behavior is good. I'm talking to you who is responding to that behavior. And I'm saying that it's possible there are other ways you could respond and still address this issue of her being dramatic. And I'm letting you know that her being dramatic is pointing to several other underlying issues. Somebody is crying for attention and validation. That is what you're seeing playing out as being dramatic. As a matter of fact, it's a trauma imprint. Yeah, it is. Where people just feel like they need to be the center of the show. There are people like that. You walk into a place, they try to be all over the place. It's a trauma imprint. That's what I'm telling you. So they are not quite well, as it were. But you, the person that is responding to them, to show that you are the more healthy and more aware person, there is a way to navigate that conversation. So then she comes at you saying, you did not even call me, or you did not even check on me. And then you go, oh, my dear, I am so sorry. I didn't even call you throughout the day. My day was like this, my day was like that. Wait, to follow me. And then after explaining all of that, you not twist it and give her back. But
I like the way you said, wait to follow me, because you know that somebody's inner man is revolting.
I know. But what if you did like that? And then somewhere down the line, now she feels petted, she feels calm, she feels like, okay, he sees me, he hears me. And then you now tell her, but you, Seth, I did not see your missed call. It's not like you called me and I did not pick up, right? Now she'll say, but I was expecting you to call me now. And then you now say, is that how it works? Is it only me that will be calling you? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. There's still a way, you being the bigger person, right, can handle that situation without just making it look like you are just being dramatic. Because this thing you're saying, take it from me, it's a real case in marriage. A lady is trying to make her point and husband says, you are just being dramatic. I don't get it. Stop it. A woman is crying and trying to communicate. Of course, men don't even understand tears. So, generally speaking. So, you are crying and Baba is confused. Like, what have tears got to do with this conversation we're having? Explain what you are saying. And
so this cry that you're crying now, you think you can manipulate me. So because you think that if you shed a few tears, I will just...
You see, so again, but she may not be doing that to manipulate you. She's doing that because at that point, she cannot even express herself the way she wants, or she feels like you're not getting her, and then she's paying to the point where she's crying, right? And all you are interpreting from that is she don't start again. She don't start again. I told you, she's very dramatic. She's very dramatic. At that point, you are not yet validating her feelings.
Okay.
They are not identifying with what it is she's talking about.
Okay.
They are dismissive. Yeah.
So the bigger question, I guess, and let's use this to tie back into the conversation, is this a red flag when you have a partner that is dramatic?
So, yes. So this is where it becomes a red flag. When you, the person that is in a relationship with this person, have seen that you cannot continue with this because you try to help them get out of that state. Of course, not everybody is skilled with helping people navigate their traumas, all right? So the fact that you even call it dramatic means you don't even understand that there are root and underlying causes, and there are a lot more things that she's trying to say and trying to do, and she's looking for, and she's hoping that you will be the one, right? So if you feel like my partner is too dramatic, it's a red flag because for you, it will become a trigger. And then you'll find yourself things that would make you an abusive person. And
because
you
will
look at
lash
yourself,
out.
I'm a kind person, I'm gentle, but this woman is driving me nuts. Right? Because you think she's being dramatic. Meanwhile, in the real sense of the word, she needs help and doesn't know how to communicate what she needs, and you are not skilled enough to see it and attend to it, so it's irritating to you and it puts you off, and before you know it, it degenerates to all kinds of quarrel and fight, and if you're not one who already knows how to coordinate and control your emotions, you might get physical with her.
But I have to ask, though, Coach, as much as you said that, people who do this, it's like a trauma response.
Yeah.
And this is why I think it was important for us to separate it into the men's edition and the women's edition, even though they're sort of like intertwining at this point. But are you saying that there are no women? This is the men's edition. Let me bring it back home. Are you saying that there are no men, for example, who do this purely to manipulate their partner into agreeing with their every... Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So it's the men's edition, right? And so for you, Gbenga, I wanted to bring it from another perspective. So it could be that, as much as Coach has said, this is likely a trauma response, she's crying out for help. It could be that it now becomes a red flag for you because you have seen that this person has gone beyond trauma response. And sometimes it actually stems from a place of trauma, but then they weaponize it and then use it to manipulate you to the point that you are just losing yourself. And so if this is the case, it is red flag, red bed sheets, red bail of something, take off. Okay?
Yeah.
I just wanted to establish that because some people will do anything to control you. And though it might be coming from a place of trauma, they weaponize it. I think those are the most dangerous people. The ones that know that there's a deep-rooted, deep-seated issue, but instead of working towards fixing it or addressing it, they weaponize it. And Lord, help
and a lot
us.
Of people actually do that.
Yeah.
I need to say it. Yeah. Manipulation is a big red flag. You know, it's a big one. They know how to say the right things to get you where exactly they want you. Manipulation is all around control and power. All right? At every point in time, it has to be their decision that is the right one. It has to be their way or the highway. So if they are not about to have their way, they will scheme around it and find a way to put you in a position where ultimately you're coming back to accept what they want. All right. And then the thing about manipulation is you don't notice it at the first instance. I mean, unless you're really skilled in discernment and human behavior, right? But over time, you start seeing that, man, I'm not comfortable with this vibe. Why does it always look like I have to be the one to, as it were, to concede to them?
Yeah.
Why does it look like I always have to be the one to yield to their desires? Why is it that nothing I say is accepted? Nothing I say makes sense. Nothing is my position is not even valid. You know, over time, you start seeing that this thing is a serious pattern. And then from the moment you get conscious of it, you can now say, okay, let me even do another experiment. You observe the next situation and you tell yourself, let me see how this thing will play. And true to it, a manipulator is a manipulator. It has to be their way. All right? When it is not their way, when they will play that thing back for you, they will guilt trip you. You will see how terrible a person you are. You will beg for a long time. Oh my God. Oh, you will beg and you will never be forgiven. No. Even if they tell you they're forgiving you, tomorrow you do anyhow, they play that tape again. Why? Because they must have you right where they need you, which is under them. Yeah, so it's a big deal. And if you see that in your relationship, it's not a good place to be. You start walking on eggshells. They're never sure of what's going to be the right thing.
There's nothing I hate more in life than to be around anybody that I have to walk on eggshells around. I detest it with my whole being because, you know, I just want to be me. I just want to be me. And the thing about being, and the thing about wanting to be yourself, a lot of the time is you're not infallible. You will make mistakes. But you want it to be that there is room for you to even be corrected when you make mistakes without it being rammed down your throat and you're made to feel like a lesser being. And you see that walking around eggshells? If I see it, opposite direction. I don't know about you all. It's terrible.
It's a big red flag.
It's terrible.
You know, there's one subtle red flag I want to talk about.
Okay.
So I just, you know, and that's why I said it's subtle, because at the beginning it sounds cool, it sounds romantic, it sounds special, but it's a big trap. And what is it? When he tells you, you know what, I'm a very private person, I don't like my matter all over the place. So, you know, I want what is going on between us to just be between us. Nobody can know about it, because, I really cherish you. Why do you love?
Coach, you have to explain this one because I'm a very private person. I'm a very private person.
Nobody can know.
No, wait now. Put it in context. Me, I literally am a private person. I'm the kind of yes, I know. I'm saying let's explain. So, for example, if there are guys who are like me, and I know I'm a woman, and we're talking about the men's edition, but I'm the only one that can give this example right now, so I'm going to give it anyway. Yeah, I'm a private person. I'm the kind of person that if you don't ask me, I will not tell, and that goes for my social media as well. If you don't ask me, I will not tell. Should somebody look at that and now say that I'm a red flag? I don't understand.
No, so explain. Let me tell you why for a guy who is initiating the relationship, it's a red flag. Okay. It's even the same thing for a girl. Okay. So, now let's put it in context. When I talk about relationship, I'm talking about leading to marriage. I'm not talking about I'm bored, I need somebody to make me feel good. I gotta look for one girl outside. No. I'm talking about relationship in the context of one that is headed towards marriage. Okay, so we're saying that this person is supposed to be one who wants to marry you, or you're ready to get married. And then he is telling you it has to be so coded that no other soul can be aware you're in a relationship. You cannot tell your father, you cannot tell your mother, you can't tell your sisters, you can't tell your best friends, you can't tell your mentor, you can't tell your pastors, you can't tell. Nobody should know. Why is that a red flag? Please. What is it? Is your relationship the first relationship in the whole world? What is so special about this relationship that nobody must hear about it? Many times, take it from me, when men play this card of heightened secrecy, it is because you are not the only one. Hear it and hear it very well. You are one in the number. Perhaps number 17. There are others, and this is how we typically say that if they are hiding you from every other person, they are definitely hiding other people from you. So they make it feel like this thing is just built around you, it's just us, What is the right thing to do? The important people in your life should be aware that you're in a relationship. I'm not saying every relationship should be a public thing. My relationship was not a public thing, but it was on a need-to-know basis. You see, and this is where some people think that if you're really in love, from the day I ask you out, you're going to update Facebook status in a relationship with, or, that's not even what I'm saying. I don't even like that one, because you never even know whether the thing get where, whether it's even heading to the promised land.
If you never cook, finish. You want good server. Okay.
So that one, I don't even recommend that kind of thing. But what I'm saying is you cannot be in a relationship that is an absolute secret to everybody. So your friends don't even know you're seeing this person. Why? Because perhaps some of them are also in the camp. Like I said, you're number 17 or number 30 something inside the league of women in his life. Right? And even the ladies sometimes who will say, no, nobody, especially if you guys share a common space. And then they say, nobody can be aware. That can be a concern.
What do you mean share a common space? Please clarify that, babe.
So I'm explaining that, yeah. So I know that in some workplaces, you cannot be known to be in a relationship, or somebody will have to go. Now, that is different.
Okay.
Now, outside that workspace, are there other people in his life that know that two of you are in a relationship? Are there other people in your life that know that both of you are in a relationship? Minus that place where it has to be coded, because nobody's ready to lose their jobs, right? Or maybe you guys are in the same church, right? And then he tells you that nobody should know in this church that we're in a relationship. That is a big concern. Why not? Why shouldn't your group leaders know? Why shouldn't your pastor know? All things being equal, because some people, they take things go ahead.
I was just going to go there. I say, you've not heard that there are spiritual implications. You've not heard that they say when you are in something with somebody, you keep it quiet until you don't cook, you don't set everything.
No. But
so you find out that even in your... Okay. Let me hear where you're going.
If there is an authority figure in your life, if there is somebody you speak to when you need sound counsel, if there's somebody you talk to when you just want somebody to share with, then that kind of person should be aware when you're about to make serious and important life decisions as marriage. Not every random human being, not the one that gives you useless advice. Not the one that when you're looking for how to just waste time and do useless things, you say, hey, may I call that my guy? No. I'm talking about, because this is the serious thing, right? So you need somebody who you trust the person's judgment.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
That kind of person should be aware. And every human being should have at least one of that kind of person in their life.
Agreed.
You get it? For some, it's a family member. For some, it's a mentor. For some, it's a trusted big brother or something, right? So you need to have that kind of person should be aware.
Mm-hmm.
If not, what happens is if you go with this secret narrative, my dear, you would have done 1 year, 2 years. The next thing you will see card. This guy is getting married to somebody else.
You'd be like that lady that we talked about, who said that she was in a relationship with somebody who said he was no longer with his wife, and then he goes on vacation with the kids, and yes, and then he refuses to even tell the wife, who he says he's no longer with anymore, that somebody else is. He kept you a secret, and he was on vacation with you, and so I totally agreed that is a massive red flag, yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the phone lines. Perhaps you have experienced some situations which are red flags in your life and you want to share, or you are experiencing something and are not quite sure what color the flag is. The phone lines are open. Let's do that for the next 10 minutes now and let Coach get into it and bring perspective on it for us. I have a few messages here. Let's start from the Facebook page. Let's see. Eric Nwoja Marcelina says, watching live from Asokoro, the flags, especially the red ones, are very symbolic in relationships. It's just that half the time our sense or reasoning are beclouded with infatuation in the guise of love, and we pay less attention to the flags. Definitely agreed with you there. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
My name is Peter Godola.
Welcome, go ahead.
My special greeting to the coach. My name is Peter. I'm calling from the guy too.
Go ahead, Peter.
Like this program is just was carved out for me. I'm into a serious relationship that I'm really led to marriage. So actually, my question is. What's in a relationship? What can be termed as somebody being toxic? That's my question.
Peter, I didn't hear you. Please ask the question again. Ask the question again.
What's being toxic when the partner is toxic? So how can you explain that? So that's my question. But I just want to share a bit of my own experience so that my question can be clear and directed to me. I was in a relationship with my wife before we got married, and many years before back in school in a high institution. She was from a neighboring school. But before I graduated first, and then I left my wife behind in her school to graduate so that we plan to marry. But along the line, she went away with somebody else. So my patience was tested because after.
I'm so sorry, Peter. Perhaps you want to call us back so that we can get the conclusion to your story. Coach, Peter was trying to give you background. He had asked the question and he was trying to give you background so that we could understand what it is that he was talking about. The phone line is ringing. Let me take this one. Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Welcome.
Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead. Good evening.
Yes, thank you for the good work and for the teaching.
Thank you very much. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Sarah. I'm calling from Papi.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you. Please, I have this question. This thing kept on happening in my relationship and I'm really confused. I noticed in a relationship it's not always about one party. Like, it's something that when a guy should call and a lady should also call as well. Especially like a guy should call to show that he cares, he loves someone, and at least he wants to check up like in the morning. But I noticed so many, like sometimes after some while the guys will not be calling. Like, and I think it's not fair. And if I complain about it, they always say, I'm busy. some of them will say, okay, why won't you call? Okay, the moment I started calling, like some of the guys, they will always, like some that I know, when I started calling them, they make it to be a habit. They don't call anymore. And you see some of them will start, if they want to call or to hear from me, it's either they'll flash me. I'll be like, why are you flashing? Then I will not respond. The person will flash again, I will not respond. Maybe the third time or the fourth time, if he call, if I pick, hello, call me back. And I will call back. That's when he wants to talk and how are you? I'm like, okay, this is almost 2 to 3 days. You never call. How is that okay? He's like, no, stop complaining. I'm fine. It's just that I'm busy. Too busy to call. Not in the morning, not afternoon, not even at night. You not even a message. So when you kept on, like, you're not happy about it, you kept on telling them, but you did the same thing again. This is like 3 to 4 days, no calling. They'll start saying that you are complaining too much. And the sweetest word they put, they will say you are nagging. And you see somebody who said he loves you, but that time, that communication is not there. So please, I want to understand. And because this thing is happening to me, somebody will say he loves you, he will not call. I'm busy, I wake up early, I go to work, I came back, I'm tired, morning, afternoon, night. When you started calling, they make it become a habit, and they will start flashing you to call them back because you used to call them. So please, I want to know if I'm the one that is wrong or I don't really get it. Please, I want the, please help us to talk about it, please. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you so much. All right, let's get Coach jump in. Coach, okay. You heard that last one, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't hear the first one, but I heard this last one.
Okay, so the second one, the first one, he just asked the question and he was trying to give a background, but then we lost the connection. He said, what if the person is just toxic? What do you do when the person is toxic? That was the question, but perhaps we'll take it from this last caller and then we'll come back to that one.
Let me answer that first one.
Okay.
If it's a relationship, then what are you still doing there? Did they tie your legs there?
He's married.
Or if it's a marriage, so if it's a marriage, then you guys need to seek therapy, speak with a counselor. All right. There's a lot. I don't know the details, so I can speak to it. But if a person is toxic, many times some don't even know that what they're doing is toxic. Some know and are comfortably doing it to you. Oh yes. So that's why I said you need to speak with a counselor so that we can treat it specifically. All right. Then for the second person who said you're in a relationship with someone and then they are not calling you, you're not important to them. That's why they're not calling you. Yes. If you are important to them, they will call you. They would prioritize you. Right? And I have to say it that sternly so that you see it the way it is.
Coach, I put it to you that you did not say sternly enough. Because you see that part where she said they will flash her. I'm like, in which day and age? I am shaking with third-hand embarrassment for the men who would flash a woman. And then, you don't just flash her. She will call you. You don't pick. You will call her, she will not pick. You will call her, she will not pick. Like you don't get the message. She now finally picks. You say, call me back. And then you now settle down when she calls you back to talk. Ma, I just even want to ask you, where did you see this person? Please go back and drop the person there.
Please, just, it's I'm choosing what to say so that I don't, I'd like to even speak with that woman because the truth is sometimes you already know that you are not getting the energy you want out of this relationship and you think you must still be there. You cannot be okay there. All right. You deserve someone who loves you and who is willing to make the sacrifice to be with you. And the least of that is to be able to speak with you. And again, no man is that busy that he cannot call the person he really loves. That's what I'm saying. I've been a big person in my life.
Yep.
No man is that busy that he cannot check on the one person that he says is where his heart is. Come on.
At least one call a day.
At worst, one call.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Maybe
one
late
call,
at night
one text
or first thing in the morning before you head out.
Yes, but he'll be with you.
See, Coach, you see, I know a number of women, and to a large extent, I fall into that category a lot of time. I feel like there's a way that you're starting a relationship with a woman, right? Especially if you're the initiator, because the world is changing. You initiate a relationship with a woman, and you're talking about how keen you are to get with her, and early stages. It doesn't make sense to me that you'll be calling on WhatsApp. And yes, I know you hear me right now, and you're like, I beg it out. See, you have to put in the work. Some women are more lenient, but I'm just saying, coming from this example now, where you are even flashing the woman, that's unbearable. I can't even stand it when you are doing WhatsApp call for me. You want to get to know me, and it's WhatsApp. Yes, your data is going, but I'm a traditional kind of woman.
Yes,
I'm just explaining that effort has to go into it, especially early stages.
That matters too. Then you need to let them know that you don't appreciate WhatsApp calls. You would prefer it.
No, it's not hard for me now. That's where I am right now, because I've moved past that. And it was never an issue for me in the first place. I'm just saying that there are women like me who are like that.
Okay. Yeah, there are those who may be okay.
Yeah.
With WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the least you can do, for goodness sake. If you cannot call, then heap them with so much messages that make them know that you're thinking about them, and then you will call at the slightest opportunity. But not that you don't call at all, then they call you say you're busy, then you now start flagging. It doesn't make sense. Everything is wrong about it. So madam, that thing is not a relationship, because you are not valuable to that person. Don't even try to try and do more to make yourself now valuable. No, it's not you, it's them. You know that breakup line back? It's not me, it's you. It's not you, it's me. This one is not you, it's them. They are not ready for the relationship. You deserve someone who values you and who can put in the work to be with you. All right, that's what I'll say about that.
And really and truly, madam, I will urge you, because hearing you talk, it didn't sound like it's a one-off thing. It sounded like this has been your experience. And correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm just saying that if indeed it has been your experience, then you probably want to really and truly get in touch with Coach, so that he can have a conversation with you and sort of dredge up where some of these things are. Because sometimes some of us go through certain periods in our life, and depending on where our mental space is, there's a certain kind of people we attract towards us. And that's not to say that we're responsible for their behavior towards us. It's just that we find ourselves in this circle sometimes, unwittingly, unknowingly, where we're just encountering the wrong kind of people. Sometimes it can become a prayer point. You just be like, no, I need to be delivered from this kind of people. But sometimes it's the inner workings of our minds and our souls and our mental spaces that find ways to constantly put us in the sight of this kind of people. So if really and truly it's not a one-off thing for you, I would urge you to please reach out so that you can have a conversation with Coach Mayzy. But if it's a one-off thing, dust your, I don't know if you're of the faith, but there's a way Jesus said it in the Bible. He said, remove the dust off from your feet. Anybody that does not welcome you or appreciate you, and I'm going to add this one, anyone that does not value you, dust them off. The ground where they stepped on, dust it off your feet and walk away with pride. You really and truly deserve love. You don't deserve somebody who will flash you. And see, I'm not trying to be some hard, blind human being here. There are times when life is tough, whether you are the man or whether you're the woman, especially when you are the man. And it would be nice if you have a woman that can understand and pull you through times like that. But I'm saying early stage dating, you are flashing a woman to the point that it now becomes your thing. She said you will settle down. When she calls you, you will now settle down. That's when you want to gist. Mbano, you're not ready for the responsibility of a relationship. Ma'am, please move on with pride if it's a one-off. If it's not a one-off, please reach out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach M, it's 11:32.
My God.
I just say, let me remind you of the time.
Wow.
So that means that we have to wrap it up here. Of course, we had established at the beginning of the conversation that this was going to be a series. And so please, I would urge you to, if you're calling again, if we continue like this, 12 o'clock, we're still here. Okay, so please, I would urge you, we're definitely coming back to pick this up from where we left off today, and we will discuss it as extensively as possible. It's most likely not even going to be a 2-week or a 3-week thing. It could be on for a month so that we cover all the bases. Because we try to do it in such a way that we attend to the issues where men are concerned and then where women are concerned. I see some messages here, and that's the most I can take. So I'll just reel out the messages, Coach, and then that will be it.
Okay.
I'm anonymous, please. Good evening, Somi. There's this guy I met, and I notice he's always shouting and talks aggressively. Yesterday when we were talking, he started again, like talking with a harsh voice. I now said, "You're too harsh on me." And he said, "If you don't like it, then end the call." I did, like I didn't hear what he said. I was like, "You say what?" He repeated himself, "If you don't like it, end the call." Now, so I end the call, because that one, na big red flag. That's one message. Another one here says, Ehinome, always with the jokes. Ehinome says, "Good evening, sister. I'm just coming in and all I hear is red flag. I hope the price of red flags don't skyrocket." And then he continued, "I thought chemistry was the hardest subject to understand, but I've discovered that relationships are the hardest. So you see why I've refused to forgive Lord Lugard for claiming to have discovered a river? The same many Benue youths have been bathing and swimming. Can't someone just discover the key to relationship and let everyone move on?" Again, like I said, with the jokes. And then this last message here. I know you're not talking about the female folk, but what do you think about a woman having people always calling her as male friends? When I ask, people say I'm insecure. Is this the gaslighting or guilt tripping in a relationship? Okay. You sound like you're thinking about them. Anything you want to respond to, or shall we leave it still? That's basically all the messages that we got.
This last one, we could choose to treat it next week. But
okay.
Yeah, the first one was on point. Somebody is speaking in a way you're not comfortable with, and you try to bring their attention to it, and they tell you, if you don't like it, get out. Oh, excellent. Bye. You're not seeing me again. And that's it, because he has told you clearly, I don't care about what you're saying, and I'm not about to change this because of you. So if you choose to stay there, then you're setting yourself up for a lot more problems. So I'm glad she said she ended the call, and that was good.
Okay.
So for the second one, there's something I wanted to say. Okay. Yeah, red flag is not carnival. People need to know that red flags are warning signs, danger signs, not just warning, danger signs, not something to stay on. So I'm just laughing because when she mentioned that, it's like the cost of red flag will go up in the market. So that was just on the lighter note. Yeah,
of course.
For the third one, if a lady is okay, very comfortable having other guys around her when she's in a serious relationship, right? Especially if it's in a way that makes you uncomfortable. Then you want to draw her attention to it. If she
dismisses
she dismisses it, then that could be a concern. If you can't deal with that, then that's your cue to bounce, right? Because you can't deal with this, yeah? So that kind can be case specific, and there might be a lot more things I want to ask and find out. But generally speaking, when you're in a relationship with someone, there should be healthy boundaries around your relationship with the other genders. So
agree. Male or female? Male or female.
So,
but speaking to this one, I'll just add this for context. There's some people that by virtue of what they do, they have these kinds of attention around them.
Exactly.
The problem is when it's two things. Sometimes it's not what they do and they crave it, so they create environments and scenarios where they find themselves in these positions. On the other hand, it could be that by virtue of what they do, this is what they usually are surrounded by, but then they still refuse to create boundaries. So a woman in this instance now, say she's a model, international model or whatever, she's surrounded by these kinds of things. She's a musician, celebrity musician, for example. She's surrounded by these kind of things. It still behoves on her to create boundaries and not use her nature of work, for example, as the reason why she would not create boundaries and constantly put herself in a position where other people are fawning over her. If that is what you want as a woman, then just be that person. Don't try and be in a relationship, because there's no way it will not hurt the other person. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. All right.
You've nailed it, yeah.
We have to go. We have to go. Thank you, Coach Mayzy. We'll pick this up again next week. We'll pick it up again next week. I appreciate you so much. Oh, people, trust me, we haven't gotten started. I promise you, because like I said, there are so many colors of these flags. I have to send that to Coach Mayzy so that we can get acquainted. But thank you so much for staying with me. All right, then, Coach.
Thank you.
Have a lovely night.
All right.
Go to Madame with your red flag T-shirt.
Definitely not.
I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to drop. Have a lovely night.
You don't see this shirt again.
Are you sure? You will forget next time. Thank you, Coach. Have good night.
All right. Yeah, good night.
Okay, then.
Bye.
All right. Oof. My God, the couch was so comfortable today. We spent all this time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the messages. I am going to go on the Late Night Request show. And I'll try and come back and see. Perhaps there's some things that people still want to talk about where this conversation is concerned. The phone lines will open up then, and then we can take it from there. Dozier wrote in, says, hi, Somi, I just tuned after a long day. You got me laughing when you said you feel third-hand embarrassment for men who flash women and expect them to call back. Wow, these things happen? Hilarious and unbelievable. I know, my mouth popped open, my eyes went wide. Coaches did too as well when we heard that. It's so not done. Ehinome says, Somi, I think those men flashing this woman see has a business partner. So me tell the coach I appreciate his wealth of knowledge. My suggestion, number one, let the federal government insert relationship in the exclusive list. Ehinome, bye-bye. Hello?
Hello, ma.
Yes,
Hello,
good
ma.
evening.
Hello, ma.
I can hear you.
Good evening, ma.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, ma. My people have already gone to bed. I want to ask a little question, but that won't be tomorrow. I don't know whether it'll be in the evening shift.
Tomorrow is Tuesday. No, so Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm not here. I'm back on Thursday.
So I'll leave it to you on Thursday.
All right, then. Thank you so much. The Late Night Request show it is. Sending those requests, people. I'll be back here in 10 minutes to take us on the dial down, which is where you can get to ask any other questions. It could be that perhaps you have one that's really on the tip of your tongue. It's burning, it's hot, and you need to get it off. You can send me a message. Perhaps it's around the conversation that we've had today with Coach. You can send me that message and I'll make sure to queue it up so that when he's back here on Monday next week, we can address it. I had asked the question earlier when I opened up the phone lines, and I said, share with me from your experiences. Perhaps something is happening in your relationship and you're not quite sure what color the flag is, or if it's a flag at all. You can share the experience with me. You want to send a message to my email. That's somi@nigeriainfo.fm. I'll take it again. Somi, SOMI, @nigeriainfo.fm. somi@nigeriainfo.fm. Send me that email so that I have it queued up for you. I don't want you to feel like we've left you hanging. So please let me know and we'll take it from there next week. And we are kicking off the Late Night Request show with a song by Maxwell. It's This Woman's Work. Enjoy.